What's up? This is a tag that's been making the rounds. I've seen a number of people do it, and it's supposed to be a quick fire one, so I'm hoping I can make a short video. Is it possible? Can I make a short video? 20 questions, 19 because the last one is who do you tag, and I never tag anybody. This is the 20 questions tag. Question 1, how many books are too many books in a series? Once you get past 3, you are testing me. That would be my take on that. It's not impossible to do, but it certainly makes me skeptical. Can't think of a single series of books for adults that has more than 3 books in it that I have read the entire thing. 2, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Good. I have no problem with cliffhangers, because the thing about living is that nothing really resolves. Everything kind of just cascades forever until you die. There are no clean and neat endings, and giving a story one, whatever, it can be good, but it doesn't need to happen. Nothing needs to be resolved, I don't think. 3, hardcover or paperback. I'm a paperback boy just because they're lighter and easier to hold and easier to carry around, and they're cheaper. I don't really care about the books like looking nice on the shelves super much. 4, favorite book. I don't fucking know. You've heard all of my favorite books by now. Least favorite book, easy, The Turner Diaries. Number 6, love triangles, yes or no? Sometimes. If it's done well. What are some good ones? Secret History kind of has one. Kinda. One of my favorite movies is a love triangle movie. Love Exposure. Kind of a love triangle movie. It's a little more convoluted than that, but yeah, I'm not opposed to the idea, no. 7, the most recent book you couldn't finish. I have, for the time being, given up on Closer by Dennis Cooper, which is so annoying because I'm more than halfway through it and it's really short. But I just was not getting myself to read it. I could not. I needed to. I have been taking a break from. I haven't been reading it for months, but I needed to give myself the grace to just let it sit, and I can come back to it later. It's a novel, but it's linked stories that are kind of self-contained, so I feel like it won't be hard for me to jump back into it if I give myself a little bit of time off from it. 8, the book you're currently reading, House of Leaves. Started reading it earlier tonight. Rereading it. I've read it before. 9, the last book that you recommended to someone. I just, in a YouTube comment not 10 minutes ago, recommended The Sluts to a person. Number 10, the oldest book that you have read. The Bible? 11, the newest book that you have read. Maggie Siebert, Bonding, came out last year, around the midway point of the year. Has been out of print, being republished by Apocalypse Party next month, February. Get your pre-orders in now. It looks like it's going to be fucking sick. New cover art, new layout and stuff in the book too by Mike Correo, tempting me to buy another copy of it even though I already own it and have read it. 12, favorite author. I don't like that question. I don't know. I hate picking people for this when I haven't read everything that they've written. It makes me feel like I'm not doing my due diligence, I guess. So I will say some of my favorite authors who I have read 4 books by: Kurt Vonnegut, George Saunders, David Foster Wallace, Jeff Vandermeer, Ben Marcus. 13, buying books or borrowing books? Buying. I always feel guilty borrowing books because I never read them in a timely manner, and often they don't make their way back to their original owner. Such is the nature of borrowing, I think, in general. And I think most people, you know, when they lend something, they know that there is a chance that it will not come back. I do, at least. But I still feel bad about it, so I would rather just buy the book and have it, and then I can read it whenever I want and not feel guilty about it. 14. A book that you dislike that everyone else seems to love. There are a lot of classics, particularly English language classics, 19th century novels that I don't like. Have not enjoyed any Dickens that I've read. I read Tale of Two Cities, and I've read the beginnings of a few others and not persevered. Hated The Scarlet Letter by Hawthorne. Have not enjoyed any Jane Austen that I've read. I read Pride and Prejudice a couple times. I really have struggled to find things that I like that are from before the 20th century. Bookmarks or dog ears? I'm a bookmark guy. I'm not like opposed to dog earing. It doesn't like break my soul like I know it does to some people. But usually, if I can, I will put something in the book. I don't like own bookmarks or anything, but you know, I've got some like fighting energy laying around, or a gas station sushi receipt or whatever can go in the book and save my place. 16. A book you can always reread. Well, I've talked about how I'm wanting to reread a lot of things that I haven't read in a long time. Because I haven't really done much rereading in the last like 10 years or so. I feel like I could probably reread infinitely a lot of the books that I think of as my favorites. The thing in the last 10 years that I've reread with any amount of regularity is George Saunders, because it's stories and I haven't like sat down and reread all of the books, but every once in a while I'll think of a story and I'll pull the book out and I'll read the story. Particularly Civil War Land in Bad Decline, the title story from his first book. That's like maybe my favorite short story of all time, and I reread that once every year or two, I would say. I've probably reread it like 6 times in the last 8-9 years since I read it for the first time. A really good story. If you don't know, it's a story about this guy who is trying to run this amusement park called Civil War Land. That's like a sort of like Epcot-y but low rent history amusement park about the Civil War with like animatronic soldiers and all sorts of stuff. But they're constantly plagued by budget cuts and these groups of teen vandals who are breaking into the park and spray painting things and breaking things and assaulting the park guests. And he's also being visited by the ghosts of actual Civil War era people who lived on the land where the park is, that are like haunting him. And then they hire this Vietnam veteran who's extremely unhinged to be the new head of park security, and things start to kind of spiral out of control. Pretty like exemplary piece of Saunders' style, and just really heartbreaking and funny all at the same time. 17. Can you read while hearing music? Only if it's instrumental music. Otherwise the lyrics will start to kind of like invade my brain, and I can't pay attention to there's words in my ears and there's words in my head, and there's too much dissonance. I can't do it. Usually I can write with music with lyrics sometimes. It doesn't matter as much. Depends though. Or if it's music with lyrics but the singing is in a style that makes it so that the lyrics are maybe hard to understand, where the vocals are more of a texture and timbre thing. I was listening to a lot of like power violence, emo violence, grindcore, screamo and stuff when I was writing my book. And that is all vocal, but you know, you don't know what the fuck those guys are saying unless you go on Genius or whatever and look it up, so yeah. 18. One POV or multiple POVs? Depends on the story. Not every story needs multiple POVs. You know, some stories can just be simple. Some stories can just be like about a guy, you know, and that's fine. I will say that historically, I think that the books that I have liked have been more often multiple POVs, and they also a lot of the times incorporate that in interesting ways too. Something like House of Leaves, where you have multiple POVs, two main ones, but there are more, and how they're woven together, where the texts are happening simultaneously. You have one narrative in the main text and the other narrative happening in the footnotes. Or something like Infinite Jest that has like a huge, you know, this triple-digit cast of characters, and it's just this sprawling like epic of perspectives and voices. But then you have another huge book that I love, The Instructions, that is entirely first-person narrative from one perspective for 1,000 pages. And the other book that Adam Levin wrote, Bubblegum, also is entirely in the first person. So I think it doesn't matter. It's just whatever's best for your story. You have to know what's best for your story, and as long as you can safely do that, then you're going to be fine. 19, our final question. Do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? It's pretty rare to read a book in one sitting. It does happen, especially if it's on the shorter side. I did read The Sluts in one sitting, but if a book is like under 200 pages, it's not unfathomable for me to read it all in one sitting. There were a number of books this year that I read in one sitting that were around that length, or read in one day, maybe not one sitting. But yeah, if it's over 300 pages, it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to read it in one day, unless it's like really, really, really good. It's possible, but unlikely. Alright, that's it. I did do it quick. Holy shit. Yes, get it done. Alright, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.